Thank you again for attending our webinar today, our Integration 101 on our new integration between MarketSharp and Porch. I'm really excited to have you all see the information we're going to present today. Very briefly, I want to introduce our speakers and then we'll get to our agenda. My name is Josh. I'll be your MC today and I'll be handling your questions and answer session at the end of this webinar. If you have questions, a quick note on that. GoToWebinar allows you to ask them at any point during this webinar. Just type them into the question box. We'll either get them answered right away, or if we want to wait and let our attendees answer them personally during our Q&A, we'll go ahead and tell you that we'll save them for the end of the show. From MarketSharp, my friend Andy Lee is going to be presenting information on MarketSharp CRM software, and Quinn Carlin from Porch is going to be walking you through the Porch side of our integration today. This is a quick agenda. The intro is what we're doing right now. So a couple more notes. If you came just a little bit past the hour, we do have a handout that you're welcome to download. It's our speed to lead infographic. You'll find some good information on following up with your leads there, which is of course what this webinar is about today. We're going to get into a little bit of an overview of both of our systems, MarketSharp and Porch, and then we'll show how the integration itself works and how it benefits you. And then, as I said, if we have time at the end of the hour, we'll also save some time to answer some questions as well. With that, I'm going to hand things over to Andy Lee. Andy.
All right, thanks, Josh. So again, thank you all for joining. My name again, Andy Lee. I've been with MarketSharp for just over 9 years. So questions and things that that you may have, I sure hope I can get a pretty decent answer for. But quick overview of MarketSharp. So if you came, from the invitation on the MarketSharp side, you may have some knowledge and history. If you came to us from Porch, hey, happy to have you here and happy to explain how MarketSharp could benefit you and your company. So we are centrally located in La Crosse, Wisconsin. If we had cameras on, you'd see a very large Packer background that I have. We are predominantly in the home improvement space. So our relationship with Porch is going to, again, fit right in with who MarketSharp has always been. You'll see that the third bullet point there, we do have over 1,500 active MarketSharp companies. So we are continually, looking for the opportunity to assist in the industry. And then last, as you can see kind of with what we're doing today, but MarketSharp really prides itself on having numerous educational webinars and or events that that we can just continue to build, your experience with us or the experiences again that we have relations with Porch or other industry specific product. Next slide, Josh. So what is MarketSharp? So we are a CRM, so customer relationship management. So anything that you are looking to track, manage, kind of flow through that process of the remodeler's day-to-day, that is what we're here for. So, if it's to track and manage the lead flow, obviously in this particular webinar, we're going to talk about Porch, but if it's tracking Porch and other leads that are coming in, you are able to do that seamlessly. Josh, of course, pointed out that speed to lead PDF. So just drawing attention to that again, but speed to lead is a big thing, and MarketSharp can really help with that in having the direct integration with Porch so that those are streamlining into the system. And then MarketSharp can pick that up with automation as well. So that could be steps that, trigger for your team to place calls. It could trigger automated email and text. So there are a lot of options that we can help, in that speed to lead area. Now, MarketSharp can also help with generating additional leads. It can convert more of those sales or leads to sales. It can increase repeat and referral business, and of course, reporting on your performance. So anything, again, that we want to build, with as a business and you as a contractor with those relationships with your homeowners, you have an opportunity to do that within MarketSharp with, of course, steps of automation. So, again, we can streamline this and make it very painless on you and your team. Obviously, there's still a little lift, out of the gate, but again, we can help everything flow very, very smooth. Next slide, Josh. So some of our clients, just on testimonials, Michael Church, actually somebody that I had sold early on in my 9 years, but he expanded his business into multiple locations, started at one location, but again, as you can see, he had his best month ever with MarketSharp. They closed over $500,000. Scott Barr, another longtime user of MarketSharp, again, just feels that MarketSharp is a place that really is built on the relationship that has been formed there. And it's not just a business tool to them. So really necessities here with the CRM, to make sure, again, as in this webinar specifically, the leads you're getting from Porch are being tended to and have that accessibility anywhere throughout MarketSharp to be able to track, manage, and report on. Next slide, Josh. So 6 key components of MarketSharp and how we, again, can track and manage. So we talked a little bit, of course, already about marketing and lead generation. So we're in this conversation because of MarketSharp and Porch. Lead management, so the communication, scheduling, tracking. So MarketSharp has its built-in calendar. The tracking side of that, lead management, I had mentioned already with automation of emails, text. Keep making sure that we are keeping our team in the loop, but also the homeowner. Lead conversion. So how and what are we doing to nurture these leads through, the funnel? MarketSharp always goes by, one of our favorite industry numbers out there is, if the average is closing 30% of leads, you ran 10 of them, you closed 3. With that being said, the industry looks at an average of 60% of those remaining 7 are going to buy within a year. So if there's an additional 4.2 sales, the question turns back around to you, and how are you nurturing them through that funnel? And that's, again, where we feel MarketSharp comes in very strong with building processes that help you manage and track that relationship throughout. The 4th bullet there, customer and job management. So now we're focused on, when the lead converts to a sale. And this is where you can have continued communication, but you're also tracking the job. You're tracking service requests. We can request that customer feedback. MarketSharp does have integrations with some other providers as well to help with reviews and feedback. And then, of course, that leads right into creating lifetime customers. So with that, component there, repeat and referral business, obviously we're never going to find at least as it sounds, we're never going to find a lead that's any less expensive than repeat and referral. And then managing your business by the numbers, of course, is MarketSharp looking at everything that you're putting into that database and being able to report that out. So we will dive a little deeper into that here in just a moment. Next slide, Josh. So MarketSharp does look at its platform in 3 contact sections. The first one that we're looking at just briefly is prospects. Prospects are people that haven't shown interest yet. So one thing that MarketSharp can help you do to generate leads, this is one of those areas that I had mentioned just a slide ago, is we have the ability to do direct mail around job sites and or targeted areas, whatever, again, your preference looks like there. But we have the ability to utilize templated postcards that we have built into the system, and or you can upload your own or design your own from scratch as well. They can be as small of an order as 20. So if you're looking to get something out to a neighborhood, that is something you pay additional for per postcard, but again, comes in at a very low cost impact to you as a business, but an opportunity to, again, drive what we're already in the neighborhood for. Get those neighbors talking, get your yard signs out there. Now you're able to present a postcard in addition to get into the neighbors' hands. Next slide, Josh. This one will be the leads. So here we really start getting into the bulk of that data. So when we look at kind of right in the middle of the screen there, there's the lead inquiry. So we can see that date of July 12th. So this is going to look at, if this lead came in from Porch, of course, it's going to be, whatever we name our lead captures, and then it could be Porch. And then it's going to be the product, of course, that they're interested in. below that, we can see the appointments that were scheduled and who as a salesperson was running that. Now, where MarketSharp again comes into play with this is results in our database can trigger automation. This can be those crucial steps to make sure that, in no place along this way have we, let a lead slip through the cracks. So process building is definitely something that, we pride ourselves on with, right out of the gates with our onboarding. And of course, we have our unlimited support teams to build that, with you as well as along your journey with MarketSharp. Along this would be that specific place as we talk with our relationship today with Porch. This would be the area that a Porch lead would come directly into. So it skips the prospects because, Porch is generating that lead and it's going to come in directly as a lead. There will be a slide later that Quinn will talk about that shows the kind of how that form setup would come in, but it can notify anybody of your company utilizing MarketSharp that, hey, we just got a new lead from Porch. But that other side within MarketSharp, as the major benefit, is it can already trigger what our next steps look like. So activities are what we build within the process, and those activities are really going to, again, drive that relationship. All right, next slide. And of course, once we convert a lead to a customer, we've sold that job. We do have various integrations here. The couple that I'll just point out, of course, you can see right on the screen here is our accounting integration is with QuickBooks. But one other key component that MarketSharp has as an integration is PaySimple. So however you might be doing your payment collection now, MarketSharp does have a built-in function with PaySimple to be able to perform that same concept. So accept check, ACH, of course, and or credit card in the field. You can also have links on your website. But to close out, how we're looking at this relationship and how MarketSharp has, completed that flow process from, the bare bone lead all the way through the, end of the job and our commitments there. This is where MarketSharp has utilized those resources and continued to build that out. The customer is also where, again, we're tracking that job and any service requests that you can see kind of in that lower right section there. So production, commission, job costs, and service. So really, again, taking everything after the sale when it turns into the customer. Next slide. So the dashboard reporting is kind of the front and the back of what we look at in MarketSharp, because reporting, of course, if we just closed out a job, we're going to be able to show our net gross sales, and have all that information, with full reporting. Now, the dashboard is something that we've been able to create over the years and gives you, I like to say, that 30,000 foot overview. So here you can see a lot of the, information that's important to you as a company at a close glance, whereas reporting, we can use that granular, deep search and, dig a little deeper into what we might be, trying to uncover. Because reporting can go into your lead costs, it can go into, various different, sales or sales by salesperson reports, what product, all of the, extents there. The dashboard, though, is a great tool to get, a very quick overview, utilize it for meetings. It can be a fantastic resource that way. Next slide for me. I think I got one or two left, Josh. So with this, I just wanted to show the statistics. So, we looked at all of the data that ran through MarketSharp through 2021, and we compared that, in what you can see in the lower left there to 2020. So all of the statistics that we see here are just showing how the conversion rate looked from, inquiries all the way to net sales. Now on the left side, from inquiries to net sales, in 2021, it was 11.9%. The year prior, it was 14.3%. So what we at MarketSharp want to focus on here is there was a dip in taking all those inquiries and turning them to sales. Now, what changed? obviously the market. We went through a pandemic, so there was, definitely some homes that were getting redone by people that, are in their homes more often. But it gave an opportunity for contractors to, take and continue to take new jobs more often. And it didn't necessarily always have that, work behind it and being able to, really push for more sales because their demand on their crews was at an all-time high. So, this just goes to show us though, is we have an opportunity, with all the clients that use MarketSharp to improve their inquiries to net sales and bring it back to a state that it was just in 2 years ago. So opportunities are there. The companies that have continued to have those strong follow-ups, regardless of what's happening, what the climate of the industry is, are always going to remain strong. So that's my 2 cents with that. But 3.5 billion through MarketSharp. Next slide, Josh. And we had surveyed our clients before, and one of the biggest issues, and it's very funny that of course we have these, but 62% was consistent lead generation. So what are we here for today? Porch and lead generation. The other obvious things that we see there, production issues, so the install side of things, and then closing the sale. So, obviously ongoing training, can always be necessary in our line of work, but if consistent lead generation is the biggest, hey, we can find some holes and we can fix them. So I want to thank everybody for allowing me to speak. I think Josh is going to throw up a poll here, and then we'll switch over to Quinn.
I sure am. Quinn, give me just a second. I'm going to launch our first poll, and we're really just trying to get a feel from our audience. Which of the services that brought you here today, which are you currently using? Leave this up for about 60 seconds. Seeing a lot of answers roll in. Thank you. All right, I'll give it another 10 seconds. Seeing a lot of MarketSharp answers roll in. I think they probably know those statistics you were showing, Andy. All right, let's go ahead and share those results really quickly. Looks like a lot of our attendees are coming from MarketSharp, some from Porch. This is great. So I think Quinn's section is going to be of interest to a lot of you. So Quinn, I'm ready if you are.
Yeah, I'm ready. Thanks, Josh. Thanks, Andy, for all that information. Yeah, I'm here to talk about Porch. Some of you may have familiarity with Porch. Some of you may not be familiar with Porch. I've been with the company about 8 years here in November. So I've seen a few iterations of our company. I'm excited to share some updates and then some various programs that might apply to you guys, help you generate leads. At Porch, our main mission is to simplify owning the home. We started with really taking a step back and trying to meet homeowners right as they are making a purchase decision. And so Porch actually has early access to about 80% of US home buyers 7 to 8 weeks prior to the move. And I'll go into that here if you can click the next slide for me. Awesome. Yeah, so something you guys may not know about Porch, outside of the lead generation space, Porch actually has a number of businesses that have created an ecosystem to help generate leads for contractors like yourself. So Porch gets early access to home buyers. We do this through a number of companies, and you can see all the companies at the bottom. So like Flowify, ISN, Rhino, the bottom left, those are all Porch-owned companies. That's mortgage underwriting software. It's title underwriting software, and then ISN is actually a CRM for home inspectors. So Porch is able to get access to that data and say, hey, what's wrong with the home? If it's new roofs or what do you need down the line? We get an idea of when that might need to be replaced, and then market to those homeowners, accordingly, and try to help them connect with the contractor. Outside of that, Porch does run a moving concierge, similar to like corporate relocation concierge, where it's totally free for the homeowners. If they need anything done in the home, we're able to do that. But we're also able to help them get home insurance, book movers, purchase home warranties, set up utilities, cable bill, security, and then any ongoing projects that homeowner will continue to have Porch Home Assistant for the lifetime of the home. Do you want to click to the next slide? Yeah, here's just another kind of homeowner journey where we kind of get that early access, help them through the move, maintenance, and then that end focus is on the home improvement and connecting homeowners to professionals that are going to be able to get their job done. And that's a really big focus for us right now. You want to go to the next slide? Awesome. Yeah, and so here's some just quick information on Porch. Some of the various stats around us. Again, early access, that number should have been updated. I apologize. That's at 80% now after our acquisitions. But we'll go on to the next slide here. Awesome. And then just want to talk about how we generate leads. I think this is a big question that people ask for online lead generators. We do classic, that's probably most well known, is we do SEO, SEM, where drive homeowners to the porch.com website and various landing pages that Porch domain has, and then generate leads through that. We do have retail partners, so if you go into like Walmart or Wayfair, right at the point of sale, you can include installation services. Probably not the type of lead that you guys will be picking up, but it does get homeowners to the Porch website. The move-in services, so that's kind of what I talked through earlier, where we help homeowners through that move. They have the dedicated home assistant where they can call in or they can submit through the website for any projects that come through. And then we do have some affiliate partners out there where if we don't have coverage in an area and vice versa, there is some buying and selling leads as well. Next slide. Awesome. Yeah, and so something that we think that really sets Porch apart from some of the other lead generators out there is our home assistant. And our goal is really to help these homeowners connect with a contractor and get their project done. And as you will see soon, why the focus of integrations with MarketSharp is so important for Porch. I'll go on to the next slide here. Awesome, and here's just kind of a quick example of what our lead forms look like, type of information that we capture. If you ever bought a lead from anybody before, you're probably familiar with this, but we'll just go through the next slide here. Yeah, so simple, these leads are shared, so they can go out to a maximum of 4 companies. This type of information we collect, you can get an idea for that. We'll go on to the next slide here. Awesome, and so this is this is the real meat of the integration, and the point of the webinar today is that we are focused on getting homeowners projects done. And so you probably saw the title earlier, never pay for a lead again. Porch is offering programs that aren't cost per lead. We do still offer cost per lead, cost per warm transfer programs, but we're also branching out into pay for performance programs. In this program, you guys never have to pay per lead. You'd only pay a percentage out on projects that close. Percentages will vary from company type to company type, and we'd have to talk in the further conversation, but we try to custom tailor it to make sense for the companies. But the big benefits, for your contractors is you never have to argue about a lead return, anything like that. All of these leads have a cost associated with Porch, so we want to make sure we're sending something that's going to close. And at the end of the day, the only time that we're getting paid is if you guys are getting paid. And so we think that's an important distinction, as well as we're highly invested now in making sure that the homeowner gets the project done with a contractor, and we think that that's a huge differentiation point. And so we've offered this program, to extremely large contractors that have great reporting technology. What we've done with MarketSharp is through the integration, we're able to offer this to more, small and mid-sized companies that have, some speed to lead solutions in place that want to work through leads and get them more leads, essentially. But yeah, outside of that, I do want to make it clear we also offer cost per lead programs. Some people, think that, can get a lower marketing cost on a cost per lead program, depending with whatever their secret sauce is. And then for companies that, don't want to call out on leads, they don't want to chase out on, outbound leads. We do a warm transfer program where Porch actually calls the lead. We confirm that they are the homeowner, they want to get the project done, and they want to talk to that end contractor about it. And we live transfer that call over, introduce that homeowner, and then, essentially hand that call off to you guys. So next slide. Yeah, and so again, the major point of this webinar is to talk through the performance program. The best part about this program and the integration with MarketSharp is limited setup. So what we need from you guys is just kind of 2 pieces of information. We plug it into our system, and then we'll be able to post every single lead directly into MarketSharp. And you don't have to pull a report back and send it to the account manager or anything like that. MarketSharp will actually just update us on only the Porch leads that are posted directly in, and see what the latest disposition was, if it's sold, how much it's sold for, and then we would just bill a percentage out on that. In the program, we do look at kind of a 60 to 90-day ramp-up period. So what we'll be doing is taking that data out of MarketSharp and saying, hey, what are the dispositions? And we really look for the dispositions that aren't working out. So, miscategorized or, credit reject. And we'll say, hey, let's look at the sources or the zip codes or the service types, and let's optimize against that. And then essentially trim the fat out over the kind of the first 60 to 90 days. When we get 7, 8, 9 months down the line, and through multiple sales cycles, we can start seeing, hey, these channels are actually producing more sales. Let's throttle these ones and actually have the program grow on itself over time. In the program, what we look for is the billable period is past rescission, past financing. That's what we like to look at billable. If it gets to a point where, you guys are, hey, I'm having a cash flow issue, that's awesome. We can also switch to, paying once the project has been completed. You get a direct account manager. And then the setup time for this, once you have a call with the one of our enterprise account executives, the setup time should be 3 to 5 days. Not much needed from you guys. It's just us kind of connecting the dots on the switchboard behind the scenes. Next slide. Yeah, and then here's a slide on how the Porch leads flow directly into MarketSharp. And I don't know if Andy or Josh wanted to talk to this one a little bit more.
Yeah, happy to jump in. So yeah, this particular piece here is the back end of the integration, basically. So when a lead would come in from Porch, it would automatically fill in like the top 4 areas then, as it would just be identified as a Porch lead. The marketing queue is something that, again, could just be set up as new lead. But then that activity process, that piece that I had mentioned earlier, where you could build out those steps, whenever a Porch lead comes in, and it could be that automated email that you have templated already built out. It could be the call out that you want, whomever in your office to be making. So it can serve that purpose of having that step-by-step process laid out for you. And then that grayed out section is you could have any of your users within MarketSharp notified when you get that new lead from Porch.
Awesome. Yeah. So just highlighting how easy it is for leads to get into MarketSharp. Really doesn't take much on the setup side at all from you guys. It's just going to be that initial call with the account executive, and then we'll do one more call with your account manager as a go live call. We'll send over a test lead and make sure that any people that you want to be notified is on that. Once we get the sign off from you guys that it's getting delivered to the right people to call out on that lead, we'll turn you live and get some leads into your system. Next slide. Awesome. Yeah, and so I know we talked about performance, the pay for performance. The pay for performance, again, those percentages will vary on the project types, company size. We kind of custom tailor that to what will work best for you guys. On the cost per lead programs, here's some average cost to give you an idea. This is average between repairs and replacements. So you can see in between. And then for warm transfers, also known as verified phone leads, we typically see about a 1.9 times the cost of just the cost per lead. Next slide. And here's the conversions that we see just on a per leads data leads that we post directly into MarketSharp. Love to see the conversions as high as I did with MarketSharp's conversions. With Porch, we are a little bit more of an outbound lead source. So we do get homeowners that are looking to get reached out to. There's probably a little bit more competition because they are shared leads. But what we see kind of as averages is 16 to 24% point set rate. So I can kind of average that out around 20% set rate. Of that 20%, typically 75% will actually issue. Of the 75% that issues, another 75% will demo. And then close rates will depend on company to company, but we see typically 20 to 40% there. And then any calls you have with our account executives, we'll get into these numbers and make sure that these conversion rates make sense for you guys and work backwards to the numbers. Next slide. Awesome. Well, I want to thank everyone for their time. We can dive into questions if any questions come up. Again, I'm Quinn Carlin. You can feel free to email me at quincy@porch.com. I'm a sales manager here, so I have a few other people on my team. If you guys are interested in setting up demos, I'd absolutely love to answer any questions or anything along those lines.
Great, thanks Quinn, and thanks Andy. I do want to give everyone an opportunity here. We do have QR codes, so you can use your handy dandy phone or mobile device to scan these QR codes and follow up with either Andy and his team or Quinn and his team if you have more questions about either MarketSharp or Porch. I do want to launch one final poll, and I think we have a couple questions about this, but it's really about who would like to set up a discovery call with either of our webinar presenters today. We have a couple of answer options. If you're not interested in a meeting, obviously you can answer that. If you need a call with both, go ahead and answer that, but I'll let those roll in, and we'll be able to follow up with you after this webinar. I'll let this run a little bit longer, let everyone get their votes in, and then we'll move on to a couple of the questions that have rolled in during this webinar. All right, give it about 10 more seconds. And we'll close that poll. Thank you. And thanks for all your answers. If you answered yes to any of those discovery calls, we will have our teams follow up with you after this webinar. So let's get into a couple of questions. First, and this question is for Quinn. Does Porch provide leads for water treatment, Quinn?
We do, but we have extremely low volume. I mean, it's not something that we actively market to, but if you're in just one city, I would say probably don't have much for you. If you're looking at a state or more, we may have a handful of leads, but I would have much to move the needle.
Understandable. I had one question asking, this is again for you, Quinn, asking for clarification on the 3 to 5 days for leads. That was referring to actually like setting up the integration. Is that correct?
Correct. That's just for getting zip codes, service types, having the initial phone call. So from the first phone call that you have with the account executive, that would be potentially 3 to 5 business days to get it all up and running. And then one other thing, just to go back to that earlier question on water treatment, one thing that is nice about this program, if you're having a hard time generating leads, You can use some of these adjacent categories that we don't get high responses in. So like, for example, we have gutter cover companies that are working with us on a pay for performance basis. And, buying like gutter cleaning leads doesn't always, pan out. But when you're able to get the gutter cleaning leads, at no cost, and you have, excess call center, capacity to call out on the leads, you also can generate some volume through that. So if there's adjacent type categories, there's maybe a potential for that. If there's more of those kind of generic things that you guys think maybe you can upsell or transfer over to.
Okay, fantastic. This question is perhaps for Andy, actually. What is the cost to get the performance leads through MarketSharp? I think the question from Stephen here is there a fee to set this up as a lead source? And is there, an additional cost for subscription for Porch? Maybe this is a two-pronged answer.
I guess on the MarketSharp side, I would just say there's no additional cost to set up like the integration or the process that would be built to grab what you're getting from Porch. So of course, building that relationship with Porch and having their subscription or agreement would be what Quinn can point out. But on our end, yeah, no, nothing additional there. The only thing that I'll highlight is our ultimate package is the one that would include like the automated email and text. That might be something to look into if you're not already in that particular package.
Yeah, and to go off that, so there's no cost, upfront cost or anything like that. Again, you pay just a percentage on the jobs that you close. If you are a smaller company and you don't maybe have people that are calling out on leads consistently, what we'd like to see is having those automated emails that speed the lead that Andy was just talking about. So we do have some requirements in place to be in this program where we know that we can be confident that you guys are going to be responding to every lead. If you don't have a person and you have an automated technology solution to respond to every lead.
Fantastic. Another question, this is for Quinn. Does Porch produce leads from Spanish-speaking markets?
We are US based, so we only generate leads anywhere in the US.
Okay.
Yes, so I mean, yes, there is Spanish speakers in the US, but not anywhere outside of the US.
Understood. A couple more questions about markets available, like leads for certain trades and services. Is there enough volume for gutter cover install that you're aware of, Quinn?
I mean, yeah, if you guys are, again, if you're in just a handful of zip codes, I mean, that always gets difficult. I'm sure you've had conversations with numerous lead providers. I mean, again, if you guys are in larger markets, we have gutter cover replacement, cover installation leads. Not nearly as many as like gutter installation and gutter cleaning leads, which again is one of the nice things about this program, where if you guys want to try to generate business through this, we can definitely have a conversation. We typically have a harder time getting someone to respond to our gutter cleaning leads, so we're okay sending those out and seeing if there's an opportunity to upsell. But we do have gutter cleaning, gutter cover, and just gutter replacement. So happy to talk with you about that as well.
Fantastic. This question is for Andy. It's from Stephen, that I believe knows Andy. He says this is a gimme, but how can MarketSharp help support call center functionality?
I'm thinking of this gimme. The call center functionality, there is a call center built into MarketSharp. So if we're having a conversation, maybe I'd know more, but if it's the call center side of it, the leads that come in can obviously be in a queue, and that queue could generate the calls to that call center agent that you've assigned to a bucket. So this can just help with, again, as you know, we talk about speed to lead in many areas. This could just be another one of those. If your company is, yes, somebody that has a call center built into your business. So there are opportunities, yeah, there to, you know, probably just perform as we've been talking throughout, is having that speed to lead. But our support and support team can absolutely help look into that if that's not something you already have set up as well.
Fantastic. This is a question from Nathan. With all the touches in the system, and I believe he's speaking about Porch here, do you by chance get the customer's credit scores?
We do not. Do not get customers' credit scores.
Okay. A lot of questions. I'm going to try to get to a couple more. So I believe you touched on this already, Quinn, but what is the percentage cost for the pay for performance program?
Yeah, so it will vary from company to company and service type to service type. Obviously, there's people out there doing $50,000 to $100,000 jobs. There's people out there doing $10,000 jobs. Replacement to design build. It all vary depending on what you guys' company does. So I'm sorry. I know everyone wants an answer here, but it really does vary on what you guys are doing. And some people have lower marketing costs than others, and so for me to give a number out, I shoot myself in the foot for maybe another company. So it's hard to give an estimate out, as I'm sure many of you know, without understanding what the home looks like. So I got to understand what your guys' company looks like, average ticket size, conversions, and we'll work together to find a percentage that makes sense.
Okay, so that would be something they work out to you when they reach out to your team. Yeah,
it is custom. I mean, there's some standardization, but it really does vary. I mean, someone that is doing remodeling jobs, someone that's doing hour service calls, it's just going to be fast.
Okay. Does that, and this was another question, is that based off of gross or net sales?
It's based off gross revenue. So, for example, $10,000 and the marketing cost is 11%, it'd be $1,100. That's what we look for the payout. And again, that's don't take that one percentage. I mean, there is a range there. Some people pay more, some people pay less.
Okay. Give me lots of great questions here. One question, and this is from Destiny, and this may actually be an answer or a question for MarketSharp, but can Porch integrate with Hatch, which is a text messaging platform?
Yes, Porch can. Porch Leads can as well. I don't know if it goes through MarketSharp first or not, but Porch Leads can integrate with Hatch.
Okay, and I believe Destiny or any MarketSharp customer should know that MarketSharp does offer texting built into the platform, and so obviously you can use that texting tool to reach out to your leads and customers. It is available on the MarketSharp Ultimate plan. If you have any questions about that, please reach out to Andy. Is there a minimum monthly contract, Quinn, for the pay for performance program?
So for the pay for performance program, we do want enough leads coming through. So sometimes if it's only one or two, if there's under 20 leads a month, it's kind of hard for us to support. We want to make sure that we get enough leads out to make sure that it makes sense on both ends. The contract is initial 90 days, it's month to month, but this is a pay for performance program. If the leads aren't converting and it's not working out, all of these leads have a cost associated with Porch. These are not, $0 to Porch. I mean, they have dollar signs attached to them, and so if it's not working for you and you guys stop calling them, we'll stop sending them. But we ask for the 90 days because we think that's a fair shake to work with each other, make sure that it makes sense, and move forward. I'd say that we have an extremely high retention rate on this program, but that doesn't mean that's for everybody. With it, you guys like calling out on leads, you've had success with other, pay per lead programs, you'll probably have success with this one. If you've never had success with any type of pay per lead program, that, maybe a sign that this isn't the best program for you.
We are getting a couple questions asking for a scenario, Quinn, that might be helpful to some of our contractors here. Like say a window replacement job in the $10,000 range. Would that vary from company to company based on their lead volume, and this is in specific to the percentage that would be paid off after the project is sold?
Yeah, so I mean that will vary from company to company. Depends on conversion rates. It depends on the company size. I mean, smaller companies typically operate with slightly lower margins. Sometimes bigger companies have bigger marketing margins. So there's some accommodations and variations for that. And the other thing that we do is we look at those conversion rates. I mean, what we look for is tracking back of, hey, if you guys close, 2 jobs out of, the 100 leads that we sent, just as an example, we're getting, say, I don't know, again, we'll use 11% as an example. We get $2,200 back. That's roughly $22 per lead for us. I mean, if you guys close 4 jobs out of that at 11%, that's $44 per lead. We are more than open to negotiate with you guys and lower that percentage down as we see, your guys' conversion rates. So this is a program that we work closely with you. You have an account manager. It's a true partnership. I mean, we're trying to target a certain cost per lead, and if you guys are blowing that out the water, we can absolutely lower that marketing percentage. It just comes with, through that conversation, through that relationship that we're going to build together.
Excellent, thank you. And yeah, so I think that's kind of worth reiterating then. Any attendee who, is interested in the pay for performance program, but, leery or wanting more information on the percentages, it sounds like Quinn and his team are happy to work with you based on your volume, based on your industry, and, they'll get you answers. So that QR code above Quinn's name is a perfect way to reach out to him and the Porch team to follow up with more information. I do have even more questions to get through, but I do want to let our speakers go a little bit early today. We do save all of these questions. We'll pass them off to the Porch and MarketSharp teams and try to get answers. And again, if you want to discuss either program, if you're in need of a CRM and MarketSharp is looking good to you, as it should, please reach out to Andy and his team. They'll get you a demo of the platform, get beyond the slides, and get you some more details. And same with Quinn and the Porch program. And obviously, today was all about the pay for performance program, but we do have, Porch does offer, like the warm handoff and just a pay for lead program as well. So if you are in need of some leads or just have any questions for him, please use the QR codes or the email addresses that you're seeing on your screen now to reach out. I do want to take a quick pause and thank Quinn and Andy for answering all these questions today. We really appreciate it. A quick bookkeeping note, we will be sending a recording of this webinar out after perhaps later today or early tomorrow as soon as we get the recording back. So you will have the ability to review the recording, send it off to anybody else in your company who needs the information, and of course, here are our great questions answered as well. So thanks to Andy and Quinn. Thank you to all of our attendees. And I want to say enjoy the rest of your Tuesday.